Ivan here with Hammer and Hand Custom Cycles, and today I wanted to show you guys our a new USMC clicker press, Model C. We got this from Jay Berger from Mad Cow Custom Leathers, and I can't thank the guy enough. I mean, this was the first clicker press that he ever owned, and he's got a hell of a thing going over there with his company. And I don't know, to get this piece, especially because this is from the 1800s, it's an old machine, and it's only had a handful of owners. And Jay actually has the, not only the original manuals printed in the 1800s, but he actually also has the work papers for it. So when something was done to it, when there was repairs done to it, all of that, he has that going all the way back to when this machine was new. So that's got to be really something to see. He's going to be digging those out of the storage unit for us here soon. But yeah, the thing about this machine is it's kinetic. So it's all running off kinetics. It doesn't run off hydraulics. If you look at the back of the machine, there's this large flywheel, and now we've got a 220 motor on there that's running the double V-belt to make that work. But originally, because the machine's from the 1800s, this would have run off a line shaft. And what a line shaft would be is you would have a large overhead shaft that would run in a shop, and then that large shaft would either be run off of a water wheel or off of a steam engine, later on off of gasoline engines, diesel engines, and they would put power to the whole shop. So you would have this line that would be running, and it would just be a shaft that was spinning with your pulleys on it, and you'd have your pulleys on your machines. You'd have big leather belts, big flat leather belts that would run up to those line shafts to put power to the machines before you could put, you know, individual electric motors on each machine. It was before that was really an available option. So this has been kind of retrofitted for that. But this wheel gets spinning, and once you get the wheel spinning, all that kinetic force from that wheel spinning, as soon as you trip it, it catches, and one rotation of that wheel moves that head up and down, and it's coming down to cut leather. So the whole point of this thing is basically like an industrial cookie cutter for leather. So you'll put your die under there, which would be like your cookie cutter. You put your leather underneath that. You're gonna have a wood board under that, and then you're gonna have your poly board on top of that, and it would come down and just snip the leather right out. And I don't know, as soon as I saw it, as soon as Jay said he was, you know, looking to get rid of it, it was one of those things where it was like, I gotta have this machine. We have a lot of clicker presses nowadays that are hydraulics. You just have like a large box, you got your hydraulics, your two handles, you know, it's a simple enough machine. For something like this, like, the beauty is in the engineering and the design. Like, I've never seen one like this, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And so I wanted to walk you through us getting it going and seeing what we can do with it. And then we're gonna take it and try and get it upstairs into the leather room, which is gonna be an interesting feat because it weighs a ton. So this is the board that was on the machine before, I'm assuming based on the age of it. But you can see it's just absolutely beautiful, the way that it's put together. You got this piece of square stock that's been wrapped around the back, run up the sides, and held in place with these keepers that are running through the board. But then you can see up here at the top where the square stock comes together. It's actually been forged welded together and then threaded to hold the other section in place. So, I mean, it's beautiful. It really, It really fits with that machine, so I'm more than happy that this is the block that's in better shape. But still not in great shape. So first things first, let's clean it up. Alright, so what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to plane the top of this block. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our flat edges, we're going to find our high points and our low points.
We've got this major low point in the middle. I mean, we're talking like a 1/16 of an inch.
We're going to mark out our high points.
Let's try to take our high points down first.
It's kind of like metal raising. It's the same idea, but just with wooden blades. When you're doing metal raising, what you're doing is you're taking a piece of sheet metal and you're hammering it out. And as you hammer out that sheet metal, you're finding out where your high points and your low points are by running a rasp across the metal, and you'll see the difference between where it's scraping and where it isn't. And you can see that, and then you'll know where to hammer to bring the metal up. That's why they call it metal raising. So you're like, okay, here's my low point. I'll flip that over, I'll hit that on the beater bag. I'm trying to get that smooth. Essentially, that's what we're trying to do here, but with wood. So we need to find our high point using our straight edge and knock our high points down until our high points and our low points meet across all angles. We need to make sure that we don't have any twist and essentially get a flat piece of wood if we can. So basically to do this, to get these high points knocked down, I'm going to start out using the electric plane. This is just a Harbor Freight tool, but to be honest with you, it's actually it's not bad for what it is. Worked good for me in the past, and it'll help us get a good start. Really easily adjust the height that our blade's going to be cutting at, and also remove the material really quick and get us to where we're relatively flat. And then we'll be finishing out with a large block plane, which in all honesty, this old block plane's about as old as that clicker press we're working on. You just got a wedge with your blade. That's how you lock your blade in to get your different heights. And the main reason for doing that, the way that I was running that, you're running on a 45-degree angle as you're coming across, and you're hitting your high points. But you can't just do that in one direction. Now normally that has to do with the grain. In this case, not so much, because we got all of our wood standing upright. So we're actually looking at the end of the wood. Like if you cut a tree in half and you were looking right at where you cut it, that's kind of what we're looking at. So you would think it wouldn't matter so much because it typically has to do with the grain when you're trying to plane something flat. But with this piece, it actually does make a big difference, because regardless of the grain, you still want your cut pattern to be a certain way. So, I mean, I guess I said with this piece in particular, but it's not with this piece in particular, it's any piece of wood, anything you're trying to make flat. So the reason for doing that, we're running a 45 in one way, we're getting a cut path, because as we come across at an angle, when we come back over at that 45 degrees, not only do we have a good coming off point because we're coming off that cut on an angle instead of straight on, but we're also covering our tracks. So we're knocking down our cut points from the last path, which is helping us to smooth out our surface as we go. And that's a good thing to keep in mind anytime you're trying to make something flat. Big shout out to Coke.
If the
you can still smell the leather cut on this board when you're dusting it off. It's awesome. All right, so basically what we're doing is we're trying to get the height set right. Right now we're obviously way too close because we're trying to get our height set for our die and our leather. We want it to be able to just cut through that. So we're gonna adjust that as we go. We'll start out with this little guy here. This is a die that I made for little ball peen hammerheads, a hammer in hand for key fobs and things. Essentially what we gotta do is we gotta bring up the height of our table. And you do that by spinning your top wheel counterclockwise. We want to get it up to a height where we're just about level with our die and our leather. Now, bear with me, it's the first time I've used this machine, so I'll figure it out as we go if I'm wrong. We're going to run it up. We're going to bring our head over our die and our piece, and we're going to bring it down. All right, we went too deep, but it worked. So essentially, there's our piece. So there's our key fob, our ball peen hammerhead key fob, and we got another die that's carved out with 3D that we can use to press these to make them look a little more three-dimensional. And then Ian bought a laser engraver, and we're using that for engraving the details into there, as far as the company name and stuff, contact information. But because we cut too deep, what we've done here is we've actually cut a line into our table. And it doesn't seem like it'd be that big of a deal, it's pretty shallow. The problem is if you're cutting too deep with this as you go, and if you're not constantly moving around as you go, what you're gonna end up doing is wearing out your tabletop. You want it to just be cutting through the leather. So from here we want to adjust it up. Got another one right next to it. So when I push this handle down, and there's a safety originally, so that you had to use two hands, but that's all disconnected now. But you push this down, and what it does is inside that flywheel, there's a little arm that catches, and it's holding everything where it's at because of the follower. The follower is getting pushed out of the way, which disengages the main wheel from the flywheel. And so if it was connected all the time, this head would just be jumping up and down right now. As soon as that pops up, it allows that to roll around once, but once it hits past a certain point, it clicks that head back down, whether I'm holding this handle or not. And so when the next time that head comes around, it pushes that follower out of the way and disengages those two wheels. That way it doesn't just keep jumping up and down. I mean, essentially that could happen if something got stuck, and then it would be like a oh shit moment that you just flip the switch off and stop it from doing what it's doing, but hopefully that'll catch. It did. Okay. So we're still a hair deep, but it works great. It's doing what it's supposed to do, and it's doing a damn good job of it too, to be honest. So we'll try and spin it back up a little bit and see if we can find that sweet spot where it's not catching, we're not quite cutting in as deep. That looks real good. That, once you have that set, that's where you would want to be. For this thickness of leather, for this die, I could run over this table without destroying the table, but still getting the pieces cut out that I need as I go. And that's the old 1800's clicker press. All cleaned up real old and wired up for our wiring and doing what it was made to do. This is, I don't know. I just want to say thanks to Jay again from Mad Cow Custom Leathers. It's a hell of a machine. The fact that it was your first clicker press, it makes it mean even more to me, man. Thank you.